Good evening. Welcome, everyone. This is Pamela Marie Edmunds, and this is Love Never Dies radio show here on Zoom. All these changes, these wonderful changes that we've had going on. And I am recording this show from Sedona, Arizona, Red Rocks of Sedona. And just to let you know, Sedona doesn't usually get snow. We get some beautiful snow covering the Red Rocks for anyone who has ever been up here. And I do believe snow went down as far as Tucson. We'll have to check with one of our guests if they saw any snow down there or not. But weather is changing. Weather is changing. So I am a medium, an evidential medium. I am an intuitive reader, an animal communicator, of course, an international radio show host. I've been doing radio now since, gosh, 2000. Okay. With my previous show was Bridge Between Two Worlds. And let's see, I'm also theta healing practitioner and teacher and a spiritual teacher of many sorts. Um, I have been strongly nudged from my team, my guides, we all have guides, okay, to bring this forward to all of you. This show here concentrates on various subjects relating to spirit communication, mediumship, the afterlife, and various other aspects, signs that keep us linked and keep us knowing that love is continuous. Just because our physical body no longer is functioning, it ceases to function, does not mean the essence of who we are has not survived. No, it has. And many of us who are guests on this show, many of us who are here to be teachers for you, I guess that's what we're all doing, right? We're teaching, are able to prove that love never dies, that love continues on and on. And for those of you who are interested in possibly listening to the show, please, we'd love to have you come back again and let you know that my website, Pamela Marie Edmunds, not only lists some of my services and videos and whatnot for that, but it also lists who's going to be on next, who we're going to be having for guests, okay? And of course, my YouTube channel, and that's Pamela Marie Edmunds. All of these shows, these radio shows, are recorded and put in there, usually a couple hours after we complete it, okay? And please share and let people know that they're there. There's some good listening there. Matter of fact, Clarion Stevenson, who was with us this evening, was a guest on one of our shows. I believe it's probably title was Mother's Tears, or yeah, and it was quite some couple months ago. And there's a wonderful interview there, and there's lots of other interviews there, and there will be some more. Let's see, real quick. Next week, I will be doing the show solo. I won't be solo, will I? I will be working with spirit. There will be just me physically, and I'll be working with spirit. There will be no other physical guests, is what I want to say. That's cute how that came out. It's going to be the healing powers of mediumship. So we're going to be discussing some of the various ways that mediumship helps us to heal, helps us to know that our loved one is there. And it maybe jogs some of that emotion that we're needing to release so we can move forward, or just to remember that they're with us, however that works. The week after that, I'm going to have a wonderful gentleman, Robert Ginsburg. And I'm not sure how many people are familiar with the Forever Family Foundation out of New York. He's one of the founders, and it's all about grief, loss. Mediumship's a big focus. They certify mediums. And he just authored a book. Let's see if I can get the title right. The title of the book is Medium Explosion. Okay? And the title of our segment is going to be What to Know When Choosing a Medium. Because they do certification, they have a number of different things to look for when you're out there choosing for a medium. Okay. Oh, and welcome, Myrna. Welcome, dear. And the week after that, I'll be doing live messages of love from heaven, where I do messages for all those people who come in to join us. Let's see. Joanne Gerber's coming in. She's going to be from Massachusetts. She's a great medium. She's coming in. Susan Geisman. I've got a number of wonderful gifted mediums and gifted authors. I want to say a lot of these people are authors. But tonight we have someone from my home state. Yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, and we've got not my home state. Excuse me, home area, say New England. Okay, they talk New England. That's easier to say. Okay, and I never knew of her before. I've been out here now in Sedona for 5 years, and was guided by a student. I will say student path guest to check her out. And sure enough, her name is Chris Ann. Hang on, interruption time. Okay. That's a reminder for me to turn the cell phone off. I don't need it anymore. Excuse me for one moment, everybody. I think Spirit is highlighting. Chris Ann is our guest. And Chris Ann is in Maine. She is a psychic medium. I know she does healing work, but I also know she's trained in a what's the word? Doing the Akashic Records. Chrissy-Ann, can you step in here, please? My printer, yes. I didn't have a chance, wasn't able to.
Yes.
Yes, can you please tell us a little bit more about you? Then I just,
yes,
a lot about you, hon.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here. So thank you. So great. I am a psychic. I am a psychic medium as well. I've been speaking to the dead since the age of 3. I've been reading for myself with cards since the age of 5. And I've been reading for other people since the age of 8. So I am a medium. So I speak to those on the other side, but I also do animal communication, both living and deceased.
Right. That's right.
And I do readings in the Akashic Records. What that means is it means readings for your soul. So your soul's history, your soul's past lives. Let's see what your soul has experienced, because a lot of that then influences what's going on now. And I am from Massachusetts as well.
Oh, you are?
I am from Mass.
Whereabouts here?
I'm from Lowell.
Lowell, okay.
Historic Lowell.
Okay, Okay, interesting. And real quick, my last place in Massachusetts I lived was Shirley, which isn't that far from here. That was with my daughter. So anyway, cool. So I was right on the right path then.
Sure.
I love it. I love Spirit. They speak through us when we least know it.
Right.
Go ahead. So how did you get into doing it? First off, okay, you've been doing this since you were a child, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
right.
How does mediumship come with the Akashic Records? I personally understand from the different levels on the other side, or there's different altered states that we can go in to connect in a different way. Like when we're working psychically, we're working here on the earth plane. When we're doing mediumship, we're connecting specifically to the loved ones who are present around a certain person that we're working with, a sitter, okay? But the Akashic Records is another level beyond that, isn't it?
It is. So I do my work very differently than other people do within the Akashic Records. I do mediumship within the Akashic Records. I studied about 10, 12 years ago with Linda Howe. And within her teachings, it was strictly just learning the Akashic Records. And I, in the class, was realizing that I was speaking to those, because I recognized it because I had done it before, I was speaking to those that were crossed over. And how it appears to me is a room that I go in, and there's different archways, and different people or entities stand within the archways, and whoever they're classified as is the certain archway that they're under. So the Akashic Records is governed by Archangel Metatron. So Metatron is always within the record. So Metatron is always my primary guide there. But then I was noticing as a student of the Akashic Records, I was noticing that, geesh, I'm having like hordes of people coming towards me. Whoever I was reading for, I was getting animals there. I was getting loved ones. I was getting their tribe. And I was really fascinated by this. And I remember I had gone up to Linda Howe and I said, you know, I'm really not seeing it like you're explaining it. I'm seeing this.
Right.
And she says, but you're a medium. That's why you see it that way. So for me, it's very different than how the books are teaching it. And that's why I have since started teaching it how I do it. I am a teacher. I have been teaching, oh my gosh, forever. And so it was just natural for me to take this next step and do this level of teaching because I'm doing it so differently. And I want everybody to do their thing differently. Whatever you do it your way. And that's so important. Anyways, there's no set rules for any of this. You know, we all are so unique, and that's wonderful. We need to embrace our uniqueness because we are doing work that's very much of service. I always joke, when I have men that come to me for a reading, they're not going to remember anything their wife tells them from like a week ago, but they're going to remember what I tell them for the rest of their life because my work is serious.
You caught their attention, huh, dear? Okay.
Right.
Good.
Well, men or women, but you know,
I get that.
you know, I
Wonderful.
joke. Sorry, men.
Can you talk a little bit more about the Akashic Records? For those of us who maybe are a medium or
Sure.
are doing psychic work, we're somewhat familiar what the Akashic Records are, but I know it's still something that people are learning about. How's that?
Absolutely.
They're trying to understand what it really is.
So I'm going to explain how it is for me. So when I go into the Akashic Records, I am seeing somebody's past lives as if it's a movie or as if I'm entrenched in the movie. I want to differentiate the difference between the Akashic Records and going to somebody who does past life regression.
Okay.
Here's the difference, and I'm kind of a stickler for this. When somebody is doing a past life regression on you, you're going to see whatever you see, whether you're trained to see it or you're ready to see it. And let me tell you how many people I get that come to me that have been traumatized from that. Here's the difference. I'm seeing the records, and I am telling you how they are telling me to tell you what this is.
Yeah.
I don't sugarcoat anything, and I certainly don't gloss over things. I'm
Right.
very blunt. I'm from Mass. I'm very direct.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of sugarcoating it, but it's a matter of relaying. I used to be a sign language interpreter. So I am interpreting the message that I see in a way that my person will be able to understand. I am interpreting the movie of their this life, this life, this life, or of how it correlates to what's going on now. Because within the Akashic Records, I'm seeing the past lives and maybe the lessons that they learned, or the people that they connected with, who they are also connecting with now, or the lessons they're still working on now. That's what I'm seeing within the movies, the snippets of their specific lives. And it bounces around, and I have to pay attention to the clothing, to the wording that people are using, to the smells, to the sights, to maybe the architecture. And those are all my little hints, mostly it's clothing, are my hints as to where and when we are at. Because people always want to know, when are we? And that's really hard sometimes, because it's not like I get a sign that says, welcome to 1890.
It's kind of like doing the mediumship.
Right.
I had somebody the other day saying, why don't spirits just say their name? And I said, it's about evidence. Yes,
Right.
sometimes they'll say their name, but the thing is, that's not enough for an
Right.
evidential message. You need
Right.
to give proof of who this person is, just like you're talking.
Right.
There needs to be certain pieces of the puzzle.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right. And those can be really important to people, more so than they think, because we jump genders in different lifetimes.
True.
And if somebody is in the body of male, and I'm looking at them in a 3 past lives back and the body of female, it's very indicative of something that could be going on now, depending on the clothing and the behavior and the mannerisms of then to what's going, whether it be oppression or whatever. There's a reason for it.
Right. Do you find that your work is extremely important now, right now at this time?
I've always taken my work really seriously. I think my work as a medium has always been very serious and very important. Um, I think just before COVID hit,
Yep.
I was seeing a rash of suicides. And you always know something's coming, unfortunately, that maybe souls aren't able to deal with. So I think as a medium, that was a tip for me.
Okay.
Something's coming. I could see something coming. I
Right.
didn't have a concept of this, to be honest.
No, 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 no. What about people wanting to know more about their soul's journey? Isn't that huge now too?
It is. It really is. People are interested in knowing where they have come from and what they have learned based on their soul's journey, because it's a matter of putting it into their categories. I think as humans, we like to have things within our categories. What did I learn then? And how can I utilize that now? Okay, did I learn the lesson then? Do I still need to repeat it in this lifetime? How can I break from that and not be around that same person again in this lifetime, or things like that? I find that always to be a really important series of questions for my people.
Okay, okay. What else do we need to talk about here in regards to your work? Mediumship and Akashic Records. I mean, it's I usually see it as a list. You know what I mean? Mediumship is one,
Right.
Akashic Records is another. But it's you weren't meant to be doing that, clearly. Um
Well, I kind of do that, unfortunately,
well,
because
true,
how
you,
else can I
you can
present it?
separate them. You can, okay.
I'm a teacher, like I was saying before, I love using tarot cards and oracle cards. In fact, I'm working on a deck right now that I hope will be published very shortly. I think that when I set out to decide what I was going to do, so many new things have popped up to me. I used to own a very large metaphysical shop. It was the largest metaphysical shop and healing center in northern New England. And I'm a Reiki master teacher. So to be able to utilize my knowledge of crystals, my knowledge of past lives, my knowledge of mediumship into and impart that into my Reiki students, because like attracts like. And as a reader, as a medium, I personally have experienced a lot of miscarriages. So a lot of my people have lost children or have had a lot of
Yes,
miscarriages
yes, yes.
themselves, like attracts like. And so when I'm working with my teaching, I'm getting people that are like me. So I realized, okay, if these are skills that I have learned to overcome or incorporate into my life, these are skills that I need to share.
Yes.
So I was very happy to do that with having my shop or having my students or doing my Reiki work. Yeah, it's,
Um,
this is very emotional work. It doesn't matter how you look at it. It's super emotional work.
yeah. And it
You
is a time, and there's a major time right now for all of many of us who are awake, I say spiritually awake.
Yeah.
to dig down deep inside and to heal,
Yeah,
be the best that we can be.
right,
And the
right.
healing isn't just this lifetime, as you just are saying. There's doorways open to check out the other lifetimes,
Right.
but also those soul contracts. Do you view contracts too when you go into the Akashic record?
I do. I do. I was fortunate enough to study with Diana Cooper her first time coming to this country, and she spoke very a lot on soul contracts. And I think soul contracts are really important, especially utilizing my Reiki with my Akashic work, because a lot of times I combine reading with healing work. A lot of times the soul contracts are done and they need to be done so we can move on. So whether it be we need to cut, we need to cauterize, we need to clear, we need to move on. I think I have found more people needing that within this incarnation than many lifetimes before, because other lifetimes, from what I've been seeing and experienced, we just kind of did what we had to do. We sucked it up and did it. You know, you're a woman, this is what's expected of you. And you know what? I'm Armenian too. I was brought up very Armenian. And as Armenian women, there are a role we have to play within
Many
being a
couples
mom
do.
and being a wife. You
Yeah.
know, my grandmother was an arranged marriage. So, I mean,
Wow. Yes.
I'm very cognizant of these things. And I think it's very important for people to say enough is enough, whether it be somebody who's in an abusive situation, or somebody who just needs to move on. Pick a level they need to move on from. And you see that a lot of these soul contracts are based on things that have happened 2, 3, 4, 10 lifetimes back, and they keep repeating and repeating, and it feels like you're just spinning your wheels in mud. And you know, people will come to me and just say, ugh, I can't get out of the muck. And sure enough, that's what's going
Right.
on. So you know, cauterizing is fantastic to be able to move on through Reiki.
Christine, could you give us some examples of soul contracts? Just in case there's somebody here who doesn't quite isn't familiar with the term. I know you're
Sure.
talking around it, but could you give a little more of what you call examples of soul contracts that you have encountered
Sure. I'll
without
use a very
without of course, saying whose it was.
right. No, I'll use a very specific example of a soul contract. So if a woman in the late 1700s, early 1800s was meant to be used to get her family a higher level within the community, she was married off, whether she wanted to or not. And that was part of her soul
Okay.
contract.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
you know, she was sort of indebted to her family as well as her new family, her husband. So whether that be the right relationship for her, it was just what she had to do. And that was part of her soul contract. But you know, another situation is maybe somebody who saved somebody from that type of situation. You're like, oh my goodness, thank you, I'm so indebted to you. And then they become indebted lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Or if somebody is born of more of a higher echelon or more royalty, and they can't marry or can't live the life they want, and they will say, this money has been the bane of my existence and I wish I never had the money. Knock on wood, don't say that, because
Right.
that
You don't want to
becomes the
create it.
pattern. No, that becomes the pattern. People will come and they'll say, why can I not keep money? I'm like, well, you didn't want money. Money actually caused you more problems. And pick a lifetime. And you see that it's not just one lifetime, that these soul contracts are kind of energetically signed. What we speak, we put out. Everything we do is by intention.
Yeah.
And you are putting that into your soul. You are putting that into your aura. You are putting that out there. And I always say, be careful what you wish for. You know, people say to me, oh, I wish I could see the dead. Be careful.
Well, and I'm amazed sometimes to see some of these T-shirts people are wearing, and I'm thinking, you really want to create that?
I
It's
know.
like, But that's where they're coming from. They're
Yeah.
Can I say, they're not at that level of consciousness to comprehend that every single word, a word creates a reality.
Right. It does. And a lot of times it takes lifetimes to break it.
Okay.
And it's sometimes beyond our comprehension, because this is something that happened lifetimes ago.
Right.
And if you can't actually picture being a Rockefeller and not being able to do what you wanted to do with your life because you were within that, or you were royalty, or you were something, you know, that is something that might be beyond a lot of our conception. We
Right,
can't
right.
picture that.
Right.
But within that, we have made promises on a soul level to be indebted, or to release something that maybe we need in this lifetime.
Okay. A word karma is coming to mind. Does that come into play a lot here? I would say so.
It does.
We talk a little bit about karma.
It does. I am a firm believer in karma because I have seen it. You know, what you put out comes back to you, whether that be for the good or for the bad. You know, when you see people that aren't exactly the nicest people in past lives, and then you see these other people that get entangled with them, and then they come to me in this current lifetime, it's like, oh my gosh, you need to cut from that situation, because that's not the best karma for you. That kind of overshadows. So it may not even be your specific karma, but it's the overshadowing of somebody else's that you have that soul contract with. So it can be all interwoven, really. You know, karma is what you put out. It's what you say. It's what you do. It's what your actions are. It's where your heart is. And if you can't live up to your highest and best good, you can't expect everybody else around you to do that for you. So we are constantly creating our own karma, both from this lifetime, carrying from past lifetimes, and what we're projecting into our future lifetimes. It's always a past, present, and a future.
Can we say that if someone were to kill someone in this lifetime, that there's probably karma between
There
those
is.
two individuals then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's always, well, it's not always, it can be a very interesting dynamic, because the person that was murdered can turn around and become the murderer in another lifetime. I've seen that happen.
Right.
But then also it could be, maybe it was an accidental killing, or an accidental suicide that sticks with the soul. Even if it wasn't intentional, it sticks with the soul, and it can be something that there's so much guilt over that they're not able to live with it, and maybe that unfortunate pattern continues through lifetimes. So yeah.
What other terms are important to discuss here before we open it up for some questions?
Oh gosh, I think we've covered a lot. I think knowing our tribe is really important.
Oh, okay.
Knowing who our guides are, whether it be those we have known in this life, or those we have known in past lives. Animals play a really big role in helping us to spread our wings. We could have a wonderful owl come, or if we need a little bit of strength, we can have a polar bear come, or different things like that. I think animals are just as important as part of our tribe. The zoo, I like to call it the zoo. Some people have a zoo, some people have a tribe. Some people have one person, and that's fine too.
Right.
Knowing that we're not alone is fantastic. I think, to me, I find it comforting, and I hope that I impart that for my people.
Right. Are we open to do some questions here? Because I have a feeling people here. I can see the gears moving on everybody who's here. Like they're relating to something that we've shared, or they're relating to an experience that's happened to themselves. And what I want to say, if you have a question that Lori already knows, put your hand up, and Christiane can answer it. Okay, so let's go.
I can't see, so I can't see anybody's hand up. So just you call on them, please.
Oh, so that was
Lori Smith. Go ahead.
Hi, Chrisanne. I'm wondering if in this lifetime you have like total fears of something, say drowning or being burned alive. Is that something from a past life that's happened to you?
It is. It absolutely
That's
is.
what I
That's a
thought.
fantastic question. It's a great question. I have a friend that came, this is my example. I have a friend that came to me quite a few years back with very bad back problems. And she had been to chiropractors and doctors and surgeons and everybody. So I did a reading. Then I was like, oh my goodness. In this lifetime, you've been run through with a sword. You've been shot with an arrow. You've got a knife in your back. You've got all of these things that were in this one spot in her back that was causing her such problems. So I did a clearing on it, and then that was fine. So there's that level, but then there's also those nightmare levels that you can have of fear of the ocean. You probably drowned in a boat. Fear of heights. You maybe fell off a cliff. And I don't mean to be so cavalier about it, but frankly, I am very direct about it because that is what it is. A lot of times our fears, other people count as irrational, and frankly, I don't. I think that is a key to what has happened. And that could have happened how many lifetimes in a row? Because if you're fearing it and you're feeding the fears, you can be bringing that on as well. It's not irrational, but don't let it control you.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
Somebody else got a question? Hand up. A couple people are in the dark here. I can barely see Cheryl and Chrissy.
Very dark.
Myrna, would you like to say something, sweetheart?
I could.
Please. I have great to see you.
Good to see you.
Same here.
I enjoyed your talk. I love your personality. I love your directness. Just, I guess, I lost my thought here. Okay, regarding the soul contract and regarding karma, and regarding, okay, I got the question now. With the past life regression, I guess I was surprised that there would be so much in your experience where people were traumatized by past life, because my perception of how we are built, I'm going to make it very simple. Our subconscious is there to protect us and to keep us and make those decisions for us, to allow things to come up that might traumatize us. So I guess what I'm saying to you is, could you speak a little more about that?
Sure, I'm happy to. And this is just my experience with it. And I'm not saying past life regression is wrong. I'm not making a blanket statement. I'm just making a statement based on what I've seen with the people coming to me. Number one, if you're going to see somebody, make sure they're trained. Ask them, what are their credentials? It's a very interesting way that you're putting it, that you would think the subconscious, the soul would sort of protect you from that. And it doesn't always. And here's my example of why it doesn't always. It's because if we have had trauma in a past life with a specific person, well, we're stuck with them again in this life. And we're still reliving that same trauma. So I don't know that I'm trusting my body to stop me from the trauma. I think that has to be a conscious choice. And I think a lot of times some of this work is very unconscious. It's unconscious of who we are around, even though we have consciously chosen it in a past life, we may not understand it consciously in this life. Does that help you at all?
I hear what you're saying, but I guess I am of the mind that if you know, I don't want this to sound critical, but if if you have decided, if you are in touch with your spiritual life, whatever level, it's all one for me. We are all about evolution. That's what this planet is doing, from wherever you are. And I also feel that, today, I'll take a building, for example. Today I am on, the top floor. Tomorrow I'm down in the cellar in the storage room. We have these fluctuations. But, there is, if you set your intention to the spiritual life, then, what comes up may be painful, but also very necessary. And I am also a very direct person. So, my thing is, come on, let's do it. Let's do it and define it. But I really think, maybe it's just me personally, I really think I have created this for myself, within myself. I have a protection around me, I have, and it is not a defined thing. It is something that I have worked on: positive attitude, positive intentions, positive thoughts before they go anywhere. So anyway, I don't know whether I am now taking over the program.
You're good.
No,
So
you're good.
I want to speak to that, because I think that's a very good point you have, that you have set your intention on your spiritual path. Not everybody has. Not everybody has an understanding of their spiritual path. And sometimes when it comes in, it's a bit of a shocker. Like, I was talking to dead people at the age of 3. But if somebody else at 23 starts speaking to dead people, they will be shocked. It's all in a matter of what you put your intentions out to and what you open yourself up to. You could be unconsciously opening yourself up to that and not realizing that that's part of a path. Not everybody is where I'm at, and not everybody is where you're at. And that's what makes the world go round, frankly.
Absolutely.
I'm okay that we're all in different places, but because of that, if I were to take a ride to California, just because my intention is to go to California doesn't mean I'm going to know my way around California. But if my intention is to go into my backyard and know my way around my backyard, I am going to know my way around my backyard. So it still can be a little bit of foreign territory, even though we have the highest and best good in our intentions. A lot of times I'm seeing that people are just not ready for the full depth of it. Like I was saying, people always say to me, "Oh, I wish I could see dead people." Not necessarily. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you put your intention out for, because you're going to get it.
Yes, you are.
So
Sure.
do
you teach the Akashic Records?
I do. I teach the Akashic Records with mediumship, and that's what makes mine different than everybody else.
Chrisanne, can you please give everybody your website? It is
Sure.
unique.
Sure. My website is elementalenерgieswithchrisanne.com. Elemental Energies with, all spelled out, Chrisanne, no E, .com. And you can find my readings there. You can find some product there. I'm an artist. I'm an intuitively guided artist. I have a meditation CD that's on my website. You can download that. There's a lot on my website.
Have you got any classes upcoming?
I always am offering a class on how to read cards. So I have a system that I've developed of reading oracle cards, and I read with 20 plus decks for one reading. So I always have that on my website where I teach one-on-one on how to do that. But I also am developing a series of workshops, and I'm hoping that's going to start next month. And it's going to be $30 introductory to sign up for the month. And it will be 4 to 5 classes a month.
Wow.
1 hour at least per class, and you will have access to that with the membership. I have been on the radio as well for many years. I was an international radio person. You know, I was live in 133 countries a night. So I want my classes to be international because my following was international. So this way my classes can be, because they're going to be taught via Zoom, and you will have access to the classes as long as you're a member of the program that I'm developing. And my assistant is working on all the backside of stuff. I just show up and teach.
So keep in touch with you through your website is the best thing. And you got a Facebook page?
Yes, I do. My Facebook page is Elemental Energies with Chris Ann. I also have a YouTube channel. It's Chris Ann. And I just started a new one with my son, which is not metaphysical, but it's Allergy Awareness Allies. If anybody has food allergies, I completely digress, but check that one out too. We review food allergy related foods. We eat. It's what we do. So, and I'm a mom of a crystal child who, my son is very psychic, and I knew when I was pregnant with him what an amazing healer he was, because I knew the difference between my level of capability and things that weren't mine. And so I knew in utero how special my son was. So yeah, I have a couple credentials and a couple sort of things that I like to teach about and talk about. And yeah, I teach on a whole host of classes and topics, and
Myrna, thank you for all of that. I think you got a lot of us really thinking here, and
That's what I do.
Yes, I know that of you. I know that of you. You're a very deep thinker, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. So, but
as long as you don't get stuck in the well.
yes, and her humor too, and I hope you got as much as you could out of those questions. So anyway,
yes, you know, it was an interesting. It's good, you know. We need to have diverse experience. No, we really do. You know, diversity is good.
Good.
And I really enjoyed it. How long are you doing an Akashic Records class?
I don't have one on the books right now. Most likely what I do is I teach those most likely in the summer.
Okay.
That's how it has been for right now.
Yeah.
And it's a full weekend workshop, and I am developing on doing it via Zoom because I'm still in quarantine, and we're going to be in quarantine for quite a while more. And, you know, I'm trying to bring my classes more international.
Yeah.
So that will be via Zoom, and I will be partnering people up to work together. It's really important that there's a lot of practice within that class. It's very specifically guided on different topics that we're going to be doing readings for each other with. It's quite specific. But yes, check out my website in the summer or before the summer, actually.
I will.
Thank you.
I like the mediumship aspect of it.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that I think it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my experience was, okay, this is fine, but this is very limited. And again,
And
no
Myrna,
criticism of anyone.
And Myrna, you're practicing medium these days, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yep. So she says, why not see how these can all come together? Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay, I want to see if somebody else has a question. Thank you again, Myrna, and thank you for the answers, Chrisanne. Any hands going up? Any hands got a question or comment that they'd like to have of Chrisanne? And I want to welcome Cheryl who came in while we were talking. Claire-Ann, I want to go to you. I know you talked briefly with Chrisanne before we started, but I know you've got a lot of experiences that have come forward, and they're clearly soul level. I think you know where I'm going here. Your son, your relationship with you and Graham, and some of the experiences that you've been guided to help other people, correct?
Yeah, you don't know that you're going to be doing those things, but I think that spirit has a way of working that somehow guides you in the direction that you need to go.
Well, can you share just
Mhm.
a brief piece of your story? So maybe Clarion, excuse me, we have Christiane and Clarion. That was, yeah, maybe Christiane
Well,
can use you as an example if that's possible for
I
what
guess-
the story
I
is,
guess-
give you some insight.
yeah, I guess the biggest thing is 13 years ago, my 22-year-old son died instantly in a tragic accidental fall. And, it just changes your whole life. I mean, I felt like he was one of my biggest purposes. And to have that just go away in the instant, you're just left floundering, wondering, well, what is this all about? It seems so totally senseless. But I knew at a deeper level that something so huge couldn't be senseless. But that's where I think I'd be interested in the soul contracts and things, because I believe that these things probably are decided before you come here for whatever soul's growth and development we're supposed to do. So
I agree with that.
yeah, but it's just a long anguishing journey. Yeah. But so a year
I can't even
and
imagine. I'm sorry.
no. And I realized too that whatever you think that you might feel doesn't touch what it's really like, because it's the heart,
Let somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Pamela knows my story, but a year and a half after, well, about 6 months after Graham passed, I turned inward. I started meditating every day, and I just wanted so much to just be able to connect with him, or to find some comfort. And I think the meditation was very helpful, because about a year and a half after he passed, I was walking down the hallway upstairs, and I had the words "only son, treasured one" go through my mind. And I just thought, well, I'll just go ahead and write that down. And I felt like it was maybe like journaling, right? They always tell you that journaling, will help you. And I remember I tried to journal sometimes, and I think it is a good thing, but I can also remember thinking, well, what do? You cry and you say, yeah, I just, this is really bad. I really miss you. But if I hadn't been doing that, maybe I wouldn't have written those words down. And so I just started writing, and I thought I was journaling. And I truly did not know until I finished writing, and I looked at the paper, and I had just written a poem. And I'd never written a poem in my life. And then in the next year and a half, I wrote over 200 poems. Yeah. And one time, right after I meditated, I just wrote out this most beautiful poem, and it was like a letter that Graham had written me. In the arms of the angels, I was flown back to my heavenly home. It came as a surprise to me, but this is the way it's supposed to be. You just wrote it out. I couldn't do that. I mean, I knew that was, So anyway, I I'd print the poems out, and I'd read them sometimes to some of my friends, and then people started saying, well, are you going to write a book? And I was like, I don't think so, But as they kept accumulating, and at first I thought the poems were for me, to help me with my grieving. And then I thought, well, maybe they're supposed to be shared also, So that's how that ended up becoming a book. And the Signs from Our Loved Ones group, you think that's just a fluke too, but I'm sure everything's divinely orchestrated. I had a friend who did a lot of stuff on Facebook. I never did. And she knew about Guy Dussault's Our Son Billy page. And then she said, he just started a Facebook group called Signs from Our Loved Ones. I think you should join. And I thought, oh, well, okay, you know. So I ended up doing that. And just a couple months later, Guy said he just felt like he was supposed to ask me if I would be his administrator. He didn't know me. We've never met. And here, you know, he thought at the time if he had 500 people, that would be something, you know. And I just said, well, I don't know, what would an administrator do? You know? And he said, well, you know, you just welcome people in and, you know, say welcome to the group or whatever. And I thought, well, yeah, I could do that. And didn't realize it turned into like this full-time job over time. And, you know, it's what I do so much of. So it helps me a lot, but I think it also, of course, helps the others grieving too. So I guess the Akashic Records things, you know, would be interesting because I think it would be kind of helpful if you could know if Graham and I were sitting at that conference table on the other side. And he says, hey, Mom, I know, you know, I'll be your son and I'll die at 22, but hey, it'll be really great for you because it's going to fling you up into this higher, you know, whatever. I'll go, okay. You know? So you think in the here and now, you're like, you know, I don't know about that, but you just have to trust that things are working the way I guess they're supposed to.
Thank you, Claire Ann.
That's great.
Chris,
can I speak on that? If you
yes,
don't mind?
please.
Claire Ann, you know, the people that we're around in this lifetime are the same people that we've been around in that lifetime and in that lifetime and in that lifetime. And, you know, that is our soul family, including the one-time meeting of the person checking you out at the grocery store. That's part of your soul family, even if it's not the person you're married to or the person that's your brother or your sister or your son. Our soul family is not 5 people. You know, it's multitudes of souls,
Right,
that come when they need to come. And I do think that we have made that contract before we come in as to how long we're going to be here for, because it's part of what we need to learn. I know I can't say anything to make it better, and I'm certainly not thinking that that is going to make anything better, because I know it doesn't. But just to say that we have chosen that on a soul level, as you chose to take him on as a soul level. You know, I throw that in my son's face every once in a while. I'm like, well, you chose me on a soul level, so you know. It works both ways.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, because
it's
if
an
you
honor, though.
Yeah, if you couldn't believe something like that, then it does make you think that life would be rather pointless.
Right. But
You
I
know?
always look at it as what an honor it is that even for that blip of a time, you were the one that was chosen. You, out of everybody, you were chosen to be Mom. I mean, that's such an honor. I mean, there is no greater honor, even if it was this blip of a time.
Yeah, we
So
were
you're lucky.
so close.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I knew.
Do you mind if
Go ahead, Chris Ann.
are you open to another little bit of a message coming in, Claire?
Love it.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So what I was getting as you were talking about your boy, not a boy, you know, we always see them as boys. Your young man. Gosh, what a teacher. And that's what I want to talk about. What a teacher. Not only is he your guide, but you know, he's kind of like backed off a little bit from you over the last few years. And the reason that he's done that is because his job on the other side has become more expanded. He is a teacher on the other side. He's a teacher for the teachers. So he's a smart cookie when it
He
comes to
is.
his heart being like so open and understanding of knowing that I can help this one, who can help this one, who can then help this one. So he's teaching the guides to be guides. He's it's not the welcome committee. He's not the welcome committee. He's 10 steps up from the welcome committee. So he's got a big job to do there. And he was needed. He was needed. His role was needed. He was called back. He had done this before. He's doing it again, and he will continue to do it for as long as he's needed. And that doesn't make it easier.
No, but that doesn't surprise me because he really was quite brilliant. You know.
Still is.
Yes, and I can see him doing things at such a high level.
Yeah.
Do you know that shortly, a month or so before he died, we're sitting on the sofa together, and I always think about this now because he would tease sometimes. He'd say, "You know, Mom," he said, "I'm a genius." You know, he'd say that sometimes. We just kind of tongue in cheek, but one time he said, "You know, Mom, I'm a genius." And I said, "Well, Grandma," I said, "you know, you might be." And then he said, "You know, Mom," he said, "geniuses don't often live very long lives."
Oh my goodness.
And at the time I just thought, well, yeah, I guess that's true, you know, but you don't think he's going to die, you know.
Right.
But isn't that interesting that maybe that was a little bit of the soul coming through, right? You know?
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you. I want to add here that Clarion has been a guest on this show. There is an interview on my YouTube page, and I think we titled it your book title, didn't we?
I think so.
But it's got her picture on it. So if you want to hear a little bit more about her story, and yeah, awesome. So thank you, and that I felt that really would fit into what we were discussing here. And as Chrisanne was able to tap in, that was great. Thank you, Chrisanne. What else do we want to just touch on to people here before we close? It is we started a couple minutes after the hour, but it's just about the hour here. You still there? There you are.
I am. Yes, I'm sorry. My headphones are dying, and I'm trying to.
I was hoping we didn't lose you here. That's happened many times before.
I'm still here.
What else is needed to say as regards to mediumship and the Akashic Records? That's been our topic, and it's been a great topic.
It's kind of a unique combo.
Yes.
But for me, it seems like a natural combo. I mean, I think it's unique for everybody else, and I had to get my head around the fact that it really isn't. I mean, it's a natural for me, but I want other people to know that it can be a natural for them too. That just because you're told that doesn't happen in the Akashic Records doesn't mean you can't do that in the Akashic. Anything can happen in the Akashic Records. I mean, it's really quite fascinating.
Right. And the Akashic Records also, if you wanted to look up the United States, for example, you could find the Akashic Records for the United States, couldn't you?
Okay. For anything, for a land, a tree, any soul. I've done the Akashic Records on the land where I live, and it used to be part of, during the Civil War, the slaves, or the Underground Railroad for the slaves to come. And sometimes it was pleasant and sometimes it wasn't pleasant. But yeah, I read the land and I see the history of the land as well. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
And how about animals?
Same thing.
Yep. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so a reminder, now you are Chrisanne, and that's what you go by. And your website is again what, dear?
Elemental Energies with Chrisanne.com.
Okay. And you are on Facebook and other social media?
I am.
Awesome.
I am. Everything is Elemental Energies with Chrisanne. Everything. Except for YouTube. It's just Chrisanne.
Awesome. And I want to say, and I feel like the group is gonna agree with this, that we want, thank you for being here and talking about this wonderful subject. And
Thank
maybe
you.
at another time, we'll do something a little different down the road. Do you have something, Myrna, you want to say?
I just want to mention a movie on Netflix, Surviving Death,
Yes.
I've heard about
an
that.
amazing documentary. It's very
Yeah.
well done.
We
It's
watched that. I think there were 4 different ones. They were interesting. One was
Yes.
on reincarnation. One was
Yes.
on what near-death experience.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's an important, yeah. And there's a number of mediums that some of us know of too, who are featured.
Oh,
in
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Mhm.
right, exactly, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Very informative and wonderfully done.
Wonderful, wonderful. Any quick questions, real quick questions for Chrisanne before we close?
Just want to thank her. That was very interesting.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Chrisanne.
Thank you.
I
Thank you all.
send you a hug through Zoom land here from Arizona, and a hug to everybody else. Thank you, and hope to see you all again. As I shared real quick, I'll be doing the show next week, The Healing Power of Mediumship, and the week after, I'm going to have the guest Robert Ginsburg from the Forever Family Foundation. The discussion is going to be what to know when choosing a medium. He just offered the book called Medium Explosion, meaning we got tons of mediums. How do we know who to pick, and how do we know who to choose, and what's good and what's not good? It's a great topic. So anyway, be safe, be well, and please, we've all got wonderful tools that we can use. We know we can use to help ourselves. But remember, a lot of people don't have these tools in regards to prayer and meditation, et cetera, et cetera. Know that there's a need for healing out there. Send some to those that you're aware of needing it. And know that we're going to get through this whole experience, and we're growing through it, are we not? We are
Yeah.
learning and growing through it, and things that we never thought we'd learn. So thank you for joining us.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Thank
night.
you,
See you
Chrisanne.
next time.
Thank you.
God bless. God bless.
Bye, thank you.
you.
Thank you, Chrisanne, for being here.